Modern business culture worships the pivot. We are told that the ultimate skill in a crisis is the ability to adapt, to think on your feet and react instantly to whatever obstacle suddenly appears in your path. The ancient Greeks viewed this differently. In their cosmology, mortals were trapped in the present moment, reacting to dangers as they arrived. The gods, however, held power because they could see the ultimate end of all things before the first move was even made. It is a difficult perspective for us to adopt. Human beings are naturally drawn to the excitement of a new endeavor. We love visualizing the initial launch, but we actively avoid the cognitive friction required to map out the messy, complicated aftermath. Adaptability might keep you alive through a short-term crisis. You can dodge immediate dangers, but without a definitive endgame, that tactical brilliance eventually hits a dead end. Failing to see the end makes every success unstable. Without a final destination, your hard work simply creates a vacuum, a space you have cleared, but one you are not prepared to hold. In the early 16th century, Spanish exploration in the New World was a race of opportunism. Survival required constant maneuvering against both the terrain and rival explorers looking for any sign of weakness. Vasco Núñez de Balboa built his career on brilliant improvisation. He escaped his creditors by hiding in a supply chest, talked his way into leading a colony in Panama, and hacked through 90 miles of jungle until he became the first European to spot the Pacific Ocean. Balboa was driven by rumors of El Dorado, a fabled kingdom of gold. It was a deeply emotional pursuit, but his strategy to actually secure that wealth was entirely open-ended. He claimed new oceans and lands, but he stopped there. As an outlaw who had usurped his position, he lacked official approval from the Spanish crown and had no political leverage to hold the territory he had just explored. By failing to secure his standing back in Spain, he left a massive gap in leadership. He did the dangerous work of discovery, which perfectly prepared the ground for well-connected rivals like Pedrarias and Francisco Pizarro to move in. Balboa was swiftly outmaneuvered. Pizarro, a man who had once accompanied him on his marches, arrested his former friend. Within days, Balboa was tried for rebellion and beheaded. An open-ended plan fueled by a vague dream does not build an empire. It simply paints a target on your back, signaling to those with more foresight that you have built something you cannot protect. In 19th century Europe, the political landscape was fractured. The German states lived as a loose federation, kept weak and divided by the dominance of the Austrian Empire. Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian premier, worked toward a single, rigid goal: the creation of a unified German state led by Prussia. He harbored no vague ambitions for endless expansion beyond that specific endpoint. This map shows the fractured borders separating the German states from the Austrian Empire. Bismarck engineered 3 calculated wars against Denmark, Austria, and France. After defeating Austria, the king and generals demanded they march on Vienna. Bismarck aggressively refused. His reasoning was cold and logical. Annexing Austrian territory would humiliate them and create a permanent, vengeful enemy on his border. That outcome would have destroyed his ultimate goal of a secure, unified Germany. Strategic power requires the discipline to reject even a massive victory if it fails to serve the predetermined endgame. In 1871, Bismarck's plan reached its conclusion with the formal creation of the German Empire. The rest of the world watched nervously. Assuming he was a power-hungry conqueror, European leaders waited for the Prussian monster to continue his march across the continent. But he stopped. Having reached the target he set years earlier, Bismarck halted all conquest. He spent the rest of his life maintaining peace and securing the borders he had already established. Balboa's inability to see past his immediate momentum caused his trajectory to shatter, eventually costing him his life. Bismarck's climb leveled off at a predefined ceiling, securing his creation for decades. Executing this requires a rare psychological trait. You have to resist the intoxicating high of a recent success and ignore the pressure to constantly acquire more. To maintain control over your own ambitions, you must look past the immediate thrill of the dream. You must anticipate the vultures waiting for you to overextend and rigidly map your actions all the way to their definitive end.